Hello, welcome to Adam's project log. For this video, we're just going to look at doing the basic snowflake, and then we're going to use this idea to go ahead and start working on some character snowflakes so we can make some more fun, interesting ones. So what we're going to need for this, just basic piece of paper. We're going to get a pair of scissors, pencil. For some of it, we're going to use an X-Acto knife. And then some things that help a lot are having some hole punches. I got some that are 16th inch and 1/8 inch, so they're a little bit smaller than your standard ones. Those can be really helpful later on. I'll show you some of that stuff. But first, we're just gonna take the paper. We need to make it into a square. So we're just gonna fold diagonally. And the neater you are, the better your product is gonna look at the end, especially when you start using some of the patterns I'm gonna link to the next video on these. So we get it folded. Just going to go ahead and cut this off to a square. Right along the edge here. Snippity snip. Okay, once we got that, we'll get that out of the way. We're just going to fold it up again until we get 8 sections out of it. That's what we're looking for. There's other ways to do it, but this is the way I like to do it because it gets some fun results, and I'll show you how to use that. Fold it that way, make sure we fold it again. Keep it as neat as you can, because it's going to get you a better pattern in the end. So then I kind of like to look and note which side is the center. And sometimes I'll put a little mark down there so I know what I'm looking at when I'm drawing out my pattern. So now when we're doing a pattern on a snowflake like this, the important things are anything on this edge and this edge, we're going to get a mirror image of it. So if we want to do something that's going to repeat itself, like when I show you the patterns later on for like the Totoro, which is a mirrored image, you can use that edge. If you need to do something that's asymmetrical, like I have a This Is Fine Dog pattern, that's going to happen here in the middle. So you can get it asymmetrical. Here you can get it mirrored. The other things, if you just want to make simple, fun snowflakes, which is what we're going to do here, you don't want any straight edges. And this edge up here is what's going to be a straight edge if we leave it. So I'm just going to draw a simple pattern. I'm going to start with like a little star kind of point. We'll make it curve out a little bit. Loop back in. Come down here. Do another little loop. And on the simple ones, I try not to do too many closed things that I can't do with scissors, that I have to use an X-Acto knife, but I'll get into doing some more of that later. And then I like to kind of hollow it back out a little bit, because that's going to give us a neat look. On the other parts, I'm going to do a little bit down, coming off of this longer point. So we'll just come down, give it a little curve. Come back in, come out. Giving nice shapes to it is what's going to get you an interesting look. Knowing how you're going to use the negative space that gets left behind and the positive space is going to help make them look interesting. So we're going to go, well, we don't want a straight line there. We'll get a nice little curve here, just see what that does. And then just to show you the asymmetrical part, we'll do a little something down the middle that comes up, and we'll have it do kind of a curve, asymmetrical curve. So we'll see what we get out of this. I have no idea what this one's going to look like. We're just going to see. And then we want to get some of this space in the bottom out, or we're just going to have a big white space in the middle. So we'll just do like a couple of little swirls that come in. This way we don't have to use an X-Acto knife on it. We can just do it with the scissors. Give a couple little swirls. That'll give us some open space. Pencil that keeps breaking. We're going to get a little more open space up in here. If you can kind of repeat shapes and patterns, it's going to get you a more interesting snowflake in the end. You'll get an idea of how some of this is going to look when you fold it. Sometimes it doesn't look, or unfold it, sometimes it doesn't look the way you want it to, but just a way to learn how it works. All right, so now we're just going to go ahead and cut this out. The neater we keep the edges as we work, the better our snowflake is going to look. Sometimes I'll throw a paper clip on there, but I don't have one, so I'm just going to keep rolling right now. Just going to cut. Might go ahead and speed up this part a little bit for you just so you don't have to watch me cut forever. But we'll see how it goes. Don't be afraid to just cut out other chunks or come in from a different direction if you need to make it easier. It's your snowflake. You can cut it however you want. There's no rules. Get that out of the way. Get ourselves a nice little curve here. Use all kinds of different shapes and different repeating ideas as you do them. Straight lines, curved lines, swirls, whatever, anything. It comes out looking pretty cool when you get enough of it and you get that open space in the middle and those little empty spaces, the negative spaces, helps make it look pretty neat no matter what you end up doing. This little part's going to be tricky to get out of here. So let's see if we can get up. Cut out of there. There we go. Get that rolling. Try not to cut your fingers. Nobody wants to go to the hospital right now. And cut up there. Get that out of the way. Do a little cut here. And then we just got to cut in these little spaces on the edges to give us some more interesting open spaces. Give it a little curve. Do these side pieces first, then we'll get the end there. Getting a little loose up here, which is where a paper clip would have been kind of handy, but for this it doesn't really matter. When you do one of the pattern ones, you might want to use a paper clip on those just to make sure it stays together a little better. And we'll put these little loops in at the bottom. The important stuff when you're cutting on these seams is to make sure that you leave enough structure in there that it's going to hold together when you unfold it. If I cut off the bottom and the ends, then it can start to get a little wobbly holding it together. And sometimes you got to push the limits of that to get a neat pattern, but you want to try to figure out where those points are and hold it together. But okay, get that out of there. But now we can see how we cleared out that straight line was up here. We cleared all that space out in the middle. Got some interesting, so these two are going to repeat and this will be individuals. So let's take a look at what our pattern turned out to be when we unfold it. So without too much effort, we get a pretty neat pattern just out of some simple shapes by doing those repeating, making sure we use the right spots to repeat, and we get that middle cleaned out. And you can take advantage of the fact that you're always going to have 2 points that are going to be bigger than the others, and then you're going to have 2 that'll be smaller, and then the middle you can kind of push in and out however you feel like, or you can clean that out, whatever you like to do. So that's the basic idea. With something like that, we can do a cool pattern like this plague doctor, where we've got the doctor in here, we've got some little coronaviruses and some skulls. I'm going to do a time lapse of cutting one of these out, and I'm going to go ahead and attach the pattern for this guy onto this video. So hope you have some fun with this. Okay, we're going to look at doing the plague doctor pattern. I'm going to give you the basics, then I'm going to go ahead and do a time lapse of it so you can just watch it getting cut out without having to see all of it going on, because this one takes a little bit longer. First thing you want to do is get it printed out so that it's going to be nice and full going along what's going to be 1/8 of the paper. Hopefully you're more clever than me and you can make the PDF do it really easily. So once we got it printed out like that, we need to get it into our square first. So this is the step we want to make sure we're really careful getting the fold right down the middle so it puts our pattern right on the edge here, so it's going to repeat nicely. So all we need is this one section, so we're going to get that on. Go ahead, cut off our extra. Okay, get that off, out of the way. Now we just want to make sure we keep folding to keep this guy on the outside. And these really help. If you can keep these edges nice and straight, you're going to get a much better pattern that repeats. This guy's being a little bugger down here. Let's get this to fold neatly. There we go. All right, and then we'll fold in that last edge, and you'll see how the pattern sits nicely right in our picture there. So some of them you may have to, tweak it a little bit, but what we're looking for is getting it so that the pattern is completely folded into that little 8 space. Now, these, I definitely like to put a paper clip on at least one edge while I'm working, because it's going to start to slide around on you and the pattern's going to start to migrate and it won't look as good. So I'm going to clip that edge, and then I'm going to go ahead and clip this edge over here. It's kind of up to you whether you want to do cutting out these little areas we're going to need to X-Acto knife first, or if you want to go do the scissors part and then come back to those. I sometimes like to do these first because it's a little bit easier to hold the paper together while it's got the solid support, and then come back in and do the rest later. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to time lapse for you and let you just see how this gets cut out. Okay, so we got them cut out. Let's see how we did with keeping the seams together and keeping it neat. So for unfolding these, you're going to have to really kind of work to get these little virus guys open. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself there. Let's keep opening them up. Untangle you. Just kind of carefully work everybody open here. Keep going around, come on, unfold. Got a little bit of a curve going to his stick there, but that'll be okay. And we'll open them up. And we get a nice little pattern for 2020. Perfect for our times. All right, So as long as I'm clever enough, I will link in the description the pattern for this little guy, and then maybe you can use this idea to see what else you can come up with on your own. I'd be interested to see that. So thanks. Have a good day.